Hi, Sabrina Hall here. I am in Roatan, Honduras, and on a dive trip, scuba diving, with my husband and some other folks from Pacific Pro Dive on Vancouver Island in Canada. We decided to all come together here, and it's been absolutely amazing. Um, I wanted to come on and talk about digestion. My next series of workshops that I'm going to be running is all about digestion and the crazy connections it has in your body with everything, your story, your stress load, your brain, really, how you handle stress and how you adapt to that stress. Um, the first workshops that I'm going to be running are in March, and we're going to be talking about digestion, but then we're also going to be going through a self reflexology protocol that I'll give you a copy of, and we will do in person so that you can learn the digestive reflexes in your feet and be able to work on your digestive system at home. And it's amazing because reflexology is all about activating that relaxation response in your body through your nervous system. And your digestive system and your nervous system are so intertwined. They're absolutely linked. Digestion starts in your brain before you put anything in your mouth, before you've prepared food, before you've decided what you're going to order on a menu. Your digestion process is starting well before that. So I wanted to share a little bit of my personal digestive story because it's been, gosh, so many years. And who knows, some of this might get into the realm of too much information, but I feel like a lot of people have so many issues with their digestive systems that they just cope with every single day, right? It's like, oh, well, I'm just used to having all of this gas and indigestion and major bloating and discomfort and hemorrhoids and fissures and all sorts of stuff. So my digestive story starts when I was like 8, and I went to the National Ballet School of Canada when I was 9 years old, actually, but the stress of that kind of thing starts prior to that as you're getting ready for such an experience. So yeah, I attended the National Ballet School of Canada, and I lived there in residence from grades 5 through 8. I went home on the weekends. My dad would and my mom would come and get me on Saturday after my dance class, and then I'd get one night at home, and then my dad would drive me back on Sunday night after dinner. And I was 9 years old when I started going there, and it was a place that was awesome. I loved it and I hated it all at the same time. I was forced to become mature, very independent before I was ready, and that led me to a lot of self-sacrificing behavior. I turned into the fixer, like constantly coming in, trying to fix situations, fix people, because I thought I could handle it all, right? So fast forward to into my 20s, my early 20s, and I really started having issues with my gut at that point, my whole gastrointestinal system. And it was, the typical term IBS is what we'll call it, right? Because the doctors really didn't have any idea what was going on. And so, lots and lots of foods would make me instantaneously have to run to the bathroom, or just be like super bloated, very uncomfortable. So years and years of that, multiple doctors, telling me, oh, you just may have to take this pill, you may have to take this enzyme to help you digest stuff. And yeah, so you're left kind of just being like, oh well, maybe I just got the shitty end of the stick, and I have a crappy digestive system for my life. So then I got really into natural medicine. Started seeing an excellent naturopath, Dr. Terry Jacqueline. She's in Nova Scotia now, just an amazing woman. And we formed a bond and a friendship, very like-minded. And I started learning. I started learning about all of the different ways that that my life was impacting the different systems in my body. And we went through some testing, and I finally found out that I'm celiac. And so that's a big reason why I probably wasn't digesting things very well. And yeah, so fast forward again to my mid-30s, and I go for just a regular appointment with her one day. And at that point, I was working at a botanical gardens, had a fairly high stress job. It was one of those, like, nobody ever turned their devices off, and there was kind of like work going on all the time. And I was also on a board of directors for a school, and my kids were young and they were in all sorts of activities. And I went to my appointment with her, and she said, "Sabrina, how are you doing?" And I broke it down, and the floodgates totally opened, and I just cried for an hour. And she said, "Why do you feel like you have to do everything for everyone except yourself?" And that has stuck with me to this day. Because I was pouring from a super empty cup. I was high functioning, high stress all the time. And I felt like I had to meet these expectations that were here, right? And like nothing was ever good enough. And yeah, I at that point, it was like, something's got to change here, because my body was going into terrible, like my immune system was pretty much just not understanding what was me and what was other. So that's what autoimmune conditions are. And so I had IBS, celiac, I had developed fibrocystic breast disease, Raynaud's, so I would lose circulation in my two middle fingers all the way down to the knuckles here. They would turn white, and I wouldn't get feeling or temperature in them for like 30, 45 minutes. It's pretty crazy. I feel like I had other stuff going on. I can't remember. Thankfully, I've done a bit of healing work. So yeah, autoimmune stuff was going nuts. And for the most part, it was showing up through my digestive system. So, shift forward, and I've like done a complete 180 in my life. I decided to put myself first. I decided to start asking myself, what do I need? I started to have boundaries. I started to say what was really on my mind. I stopped giving shitty yeses, and I started saying, no, that isn't in alignment with me. I don't want to do that thing. No, I don't have time for that. And started honoring myself, and started to get a handle on my stress levels. And that was huge for me, very pivotal in my overall health. And it meant that I started to be able to heal that mind-body connection. And I started to see differences in my digestive system, because that's my weak area, right? If something's going to happen and show up in me, that's the first area that it's going to happen in. So yeah, so I had to do quite a lot of, like elimination diets and stuff like that, just because there was a point where things that I was putting into my body, they just like weren't being digested. They were hurting me and harming me more than they were helping me, because of the overall my nervous system was in such a state of like chronic inflammation. So getting the stress under control was number one. That started calming the inflammation, and over time meant that I have gone back to eating almost every single food that I couldn't tolerate 10 years ago, except for wheat. Wheat, being a celiac, I won't ever eat wheat again. And I would probably strongly recommend that a lot of people look at wheat and maybe cut it out of their diet because of how wheat is grown and processed in North America. It's hit with Roundup, which is a neurotoxin, about 4 to 5 times over its growth and drying process. So when we're constantly digesting neurotoxins, that becomes hard for the body to clear after a while. And we start seeing, again, chronic inflammation through the body. And that shows up differently for people in different systems in your body. So overall, I can eat so many things now and feel so healthy, so fantastic. But the crux of it was starting to honor myself, starting to understand that role that stress has, and that stress has on our entire body. We're interpreting the stress, our body is responding because it's the only thing that it can do. It's designed to react to stress in the only way that it can, and that cascade of effects has so many impacts on us. So the first step to healing is managing your stress and getting to a point where you know what comforts you, what nurtures you, what is healing for you, and start to do those things instead of all of the things that little voice in your head keeps saying, no, I don't want to do this, when the outside voice says, yep, I'll do that, right? So yeah, this is an invitation to get real with yourself. Start to put you first. I am going to post details on these workshops of mine that I'm running in March. I would love to see you there in the Comox Valley of Vancouver Island, British Columbia. If you aren't local and you resonate with any of this information, I'm also a health and wellness coach. I take people through a program that I've designed based on all of my life experiences called Nurture Your Nature. And it's completely individualized. I start where you need me to start. And then I hold your hand through it, and I am your cheerleader. And we go through stress management and all sorts of stuff. I can head in a dietary direction with you. We can go any direction that you need to go. So I offer free 30-minute discovery calls, like health consults, so that we can start to see what your individual situation is and how I might best be able to help you. And I'll include the link for my booking app, and I would love to talk to you. My role in this life is to help people see that they have everything that they need inside of them to heal and have an amazing, joyful life. So if that's you, then get in touch with me. I'd love to hear from you.